yarning about disability.
Dedicated to my family.
Long ago, the Noongar people lived off Wajak Buja, Wajak country. Wajak Buja is the land we now call Perth and is home to the Noongar nation. For thousands of years, families swam, fished and laughed along the Derval Yerrigan Swan River. My name is Caris and I live in Perth, the capital of Western Australia. Before I lived in Perth, my family lived in East Malaysia, where I was born. Before I was born, my dad lived in a very small village in some very large mountains in a place called Barrio, East Malaysia. He was born in a tiny village called Longalang. A long time ago, our people, the Kalabit tribe, lived off the Barrio land, hunting and fishing. And a very long time ago, we had long ears for fashion. And a very, very long time ago, we used to headhunt. Now I live and work in Western Australia, from Wajak Perth to Wongai Kalgoorlie country. At Ability Centre, I work with people with different abilities. One day I found out there is no Indigenous word for disability. Some Noongar people use the word winyan, meaning sick, sad or poor fella. In Kalabit, the word ma'it is used, meaning sickness. I wondered to myself, what do Aboriginal boys and girls with different abilities think about health, disability and living a solid life? I decided to ask them, and this is what they told me. I had a yarn with a girl called Evangelina. Evangelina was born with one arm. She likes to go to school, but told me that sometimes she feels angry and sad at the same time, like when people tease her. Some kids think she's dumb and can't go to school because she has one arm. But Evangelina is smart and she knows that her arm doesn't affect her brain. Her nan taught her not to cramp up the feelings inside, but to tell someone about it. There are some things she only tells her dog. He's a good listener. Evangelina is very good at seeing the good things in life and often reminds herself that there are more good people in the world than bad people. I agreed with her and we hugged before I left.
I had a yarn with a young boy, Eddie. Eddie was born with cerebral palsy and used a walker to walk. When Eddie was young, he used to get upset when sometimes he was left out. But his mum and dad are good at talking to him. Now Eddie knows how to click off and walk away from bullies. His dad cons him up, reminds him to stay strong inside. His mum and dad also teach him culture. Eddie likes playing with his brothers and sisters. He loves riding his bike and playing basketball too. Sometimes he goes to Princess Margaret Hospital and has appointments with his therapist.
I had a yarn with a young woman called Rachel. She was born with hearing difficulties, and when she was little, she had surgery on her ears. Because only one ear works well, she has to ask people to repeat themselves when it's noisy. Sometimes she has to ask 3 times and still has trouble hearing them. But Rachel knows how to laugh and focus on her strengths. She told me that keeping healthy is not just about having a strong body, but also having a strong mind and spirit. Rachel smiles and laughs a lot. We had a good yarn and laughed together.
I had a yarn with a young man called Glenn. Glenn was born a small baby. When he was inside his mum's belly, she drank alcohol. Now he finds some things harder, like speaking clearly because of how his mouth moves. Glenn exercises but not too hard because of his weak heart. He works out and likes bodybuilding. Through his early years, Glenn has learned to better understand his strengths and weaknesses. One day, Glenn wanted to find out more about fetal alcohol spectrum disorder. Now he knows himself better and is able to accept his feelings. He really likes going back to his mother's country. It helps with spiritual healing. Glenn is a remarkable man who taught himself to never give up, just never give in. He taught me that if you just keep going, you'll get somewhere. That's what he has learnt, and on that day, that is what I learnt.
After yarning with lots of people, I can see that everyone has different abilities. Evangelina told me, why don't we call disability differability, because everyone has different abilities? Rachel said that when she was younger, she wished that she was normal. Now that she's older, she questioned what's normal and realised that no one is normal.
Glenn and I yarned about life. He said,
The goal is to complete things. It doesn't matter for you to understand the details, but make sure you do it. Just step by step. Just don't rush it. Just take your time and you'll adapt to do more things.
The yarning reminded me that everyone is good at something. I am good at playing music, but not so good at singing. My dad is good at fishing, and my mum is good at listening. My sister is a fashion designer and talented at making clothes. My brother is better at singing and plays the guitar like a rock star. His wife is an excellent cook and mother. They have 2 kids. My niece is really good at reading, and my nephew is great at maths and Angry Birds.
at the end of all the yarning, I wondered about the word disability and thought about other words to use like
Disability.
Adaptability
Kissability.
and
Remarkability.